What's going on, everybody? I'm super excited for this interview. I have someone who's a good friend of mine, and he's about to drop a lot of knowledge for all of you who are thinking about someday buying a home. Maybe that's a fixer or even building from scratch. It's Alex Brotman. He's a buddy of mine who's worth Build Allen right here in Santa Barbara, one of the best contracting companies I've ever worked with. I will refer them to a lot of my clients. They build everything from really cool custom ADUs to like mega mansions in Montecito. They have a wide variety of clients. And also what's awesome, they're really impact and environmentally focused. So Alex, I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much, Avi. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So what I wanted to get into, a lot of people that watch my content are people that are interested in investing or who've either bought their first home, maybe looking to step up, or just thinking about getting into the market. And always the question I get, should I buy the fixer where I can put some equity into it with a renovation project, or should I buy the home that's right move-in ready? And when people buy the fixer, a lot of times they're coming to you. So I wanted to just ask some questions about the process. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about Allen Construction and who you guys are and who you serve.
Sure. Well, Allen Construction, we're an employee-owned residential general building contractor. We were founded by Dennis Allen and his wife, Jenny, about 35 years ago. And we serve all sorts of folks, Avi. A lot of our clients, they've been through a construction project before, even if it's a kind of a smaller bathroom renovation, remodel, but they, sort of know what to expect. However, we're happy to help folks along, first timers as well. Folks that we work with, they typically value a firm like ours that can offer a full service, especially in pre-construction, kind of the estimating, the design, consultation, if you will, and figuring out costs early and ensuring feasibility in the build early. Most of our clients seek out our services because they want a building partner that they can trust with the quality, and that has a kind of a refined project management structure and solid trade relationships in order to meet a schedule, and as well as a focus and experience in sustainability is often an important part.
Awesome. And the reason I refer a lot of people to you, one thing is you're not the cheapest firm in town, but I believe whether it comes to a real estate agent, there's discount brokers out there and there's discount everything. But I think in a space like ours, the home services space, you get what you pay for a lot. And why is it that, so there are people that are cheaper than you guys, but in, many regards, I feel like you're the best investment. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like to think that we're definitely market comparable for the service that we do offer. There are a number of ways for folks to go about their build, and it really depends on kind of their level of desire for involvement, I think is a big one. We, like I mentioned before, we like to take as much off your hands as possible. Full service, full management, kind of a guarantee on scheduling and on quality for sure. So if you're someone who is, values your time, I'd say, then we're probably a good mix for you, a good match for you, because we can kind of take it and run with it and keep it as easy as possible on you.
Yeah. Let's talk about the types of products and types of construction projects that you guys do, because you do a lot. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we actually have 4 different divisions that specialize in different size projects, all the way down from our remodel to our estate, as you mentioned earlier. We do remodels, we do new construction. So whether it's, fixing up a home that you just bought or starting something fresh on an empty lot. Some of our small projects that we've done in the past include decks, kitchen and bath remodels, smaller additions, and ADUs, like you mentioned. And, our larger projects can include whole home renovations, new homes, and estates with multiple buildings and intense site development. So we pretty much run the full gamut there.
Yeah. What are some of the common misconceptions or misnomers, or maybe even the common questions that you get a lot from the people who are inquiring to you guys about your services? Maybe
sure, and there are a few. I think one of the most common misconceptions is that it's actually at times cheaper to build new than it is to remodel. When what we found is that it's almost always less expensive to remodel than it is to build new. I mean, think about it. When you're building something new, you have to deal with more utilities. You have to deal with your foundational work, your framing, your roof, essentially what we call a core and shell. But when you're remodeling, all that stuff is there, and assuming we can work with what's there and that the bones are good, you're gonna see a lot more value for your dollar in just kind of a remodel of existing. I also think a kind of a common misconception right now is that the best way for a homeowner to move forward with a remodel is to find an architect, have something designed fully, and then go and bid it out to multiple general contractors. And that's kind of the way it's been done in the past. But we found it's the industry itself is moving away from those kind of older roots of multiple contractors bidding on a set of plans. Architects and homeowners, for that matter, typically want experienced builders involved early in order for us to give guidance on budget and feasibility, and essentially ensure that the projects can be built smoothly and efficiently before you've reached that kind of point of no return in the design process and invested all of that time and money into designing something that might be beautiful but is unrealistic or is over budget. So if you're asking me, I think it's best to interview your builder early, kind of agree on budget, agree how that builder is going to make their profit, and then make them a part of your project team from the onset of design, from the very beginning, even reaching out to us before you've selected an architect, because we have many partners in town that we can recommend. You'll always save more from a builder's insight early on in the process than you will by asking builders to enter a bidding war against one another and compete on price after the design is completed.
Mhm. That's awesome. And yeah, touching on that, I get asked that question a lot from especially first-time buyers, being like, "Hey, we see there's like this piece of land for 500,000. Maybe we could buy that and build the house on top of that." But I really try, in my opinion, that brand new builds, especially in a market is tight with permitting as ours and as competitive and expensive, honestly. First time buyers are usually not the best fit for custom home builders and home building, because the cost is astronomical and it's just a long process. And there's the people that have owned multiple homes that come out to Santa Barbara to build their dream home, and they're ready to take, sometimes it can be up to what, 2-3 years to go from start to finish, maybe even more.
It could. I mean, a lot of the times it depends on your architect. It depends on the busyness of the city or the county or the municipality in which you're trying to build. That stuff is hard to predict, though. Like I said, it varies, of course.
Yeah.
How long that's going to take. But on the design side, depending on what a homeowner's ideas are, how much they've kind of thought about it ahead of time. I mean, we've seen designs, go from concept to ready to build, certainly under a year. And that's the goal, right? We want to keep things efficient. We don't want things to be in limbo for very long.
Totally.
And that's why we want to be around from the beginning to make sure that those questions are answered up front, and the homeowner knows what they're getting into starting from the very beginning, to kind of take away that guesswork.
Yeah. Let's transition to the first time buyer, maybe the first time fixer. What are important things for them to look out? Well, they want to buy a house with a little more value, obviously, but they don't want to break the bank maybe on the renovation. Like, what are good things for them to know going into the process, knowing, hey, okay, we're going to find a fixer. We want to bring in a great contractor like you guys, but we also want to be efficient and smart. It's our first time doing a project. What advice could you give them?
I think it's a good question, and I have a very simple answer for that. I think what you really want to look for are the bones of this house here. Size, and that includes things like like your framing. I think it includes things like your utilities, the conditions of what powers the home. The size of the electrical panel, the quality of the gas lines, heating and cooling. What else we have? The foundation, the framing, the waterproofing, and the roofing. Because if these are in bad shape, it can add a lot of cost to an otherwise straightforward remodel. I would also recommend meeting with a planning specialist beforehand to understand, what you will be allowed to do on your property. Especially in a town like Santa Barbara, there are a lot of rules, a lot of regulations around developed lot size, heights, all manner of parking. And a planner, a seasoned planner who knows the laws and regulations of this town can help you, give you an idea of what's possible before you buy, so that you're not already past that point and being told then that this dream that you had for this dream plan that you had for this property is not possible due to, this or that regulation and stipulation.
It's a great point. People will overlook that a lot, just be like, oh, we'll figure out the permitting later. No, it's something to get it in early.
Mhm.
Off of that, what are some other good questions that people should be asking the contractors they're hiring and interviewing, when going about the process, who people have never done it before?
I think you need to ask your contract. Do you have a process for moving through the different stages of construction? We have a honed process that, like I said, we've honed over 35 years, and we don't like to fly by night. And that's something that is going to save you time and money on the front end. You want to ask them what the team structure will look like for the project. Who's going to be my lead point of communication? When is that going to change hands? In our case, we have a pre-construction department and a production department. So we try to minimize the amount of total, primary points of contact you have and maintain a through line from kind of start to end of a project. You might want to also ask what a safety net is like from this company if, let's say, a team member gets sick. If your superintendent, comes down with a cold and has to be out for a few days, is the project going to stop? Is there a backfill? Is there some sort of a support net for making sure that your project stays on topic or stays on schedule and stays on point? And lastly, you probably want to see a schedule of how the project's going to be completed, and a detailed plan of what comes when, what does the contractor need from you and when, kind of what your homework would be, and all this again just in service of maintaining a project schedule and getting in and getting out and getting you enjoying your new home, your new remodel as soon as possible.
That's great insight, because I feel like there's so many people that might just go to the contractors and just be like, straight up, what do you charge? What's the cost? And that's all they're thinking about, when there's so many other variables at play, like scheduling, timing, efficiency, that you guys really have nailed down better than a lot of other people I've seen in town.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's true. These measures that we take, they are all in place in service of saving time and money for both you and for us as well. I mean, an efficient project is a good one.
Totally. What I'm going to do too is, in the description of the video, I'm going to link to Alan's resources, their YouTube channel. They just do such incredible, cool work that it's fun for people to check out. If you've been thinking about buying a fixer and you want to interview different contractors, I definitely say you give them a call, because if it's going to be a home that you're going to be in a long time, and in Santa Barbara, on average, people stay in their homes, single family homes, north of 20 years. That's like the average duration that people live in a home. They upgrade it and they make it their own. And if you're going to do it, my advice is to do it well. Obviously, you have to have the budget, and it's not for everybody, but Alan is a great company to check out, and I'm really stoked to continue to work with you guys, refer you clients, and watch you guys continue to help transform different homes in Santa Barbara into gems. So check them out below. Is there anything else I missed, Alex, that you want to touch on before I let you go?
I think we covered it, Avi, but I did want to thank you for bringing me on today. It's been a pleasure working with you these past couple of years, and here's to many more.
Cheers, my man. Have a good one.
Cheers. Thank you.